So today I'm going to show you how to use myfitnesspal.com, which is a tool that I use with my online and nutrition clients to track our food and to be sure we're eating within our daily calorie and macro goals. I am on a computer desktop, and I find this to be the easiest way to use FitnessPal. There's also an app you can get for your phone and also your tablet. The tablet one's pretty good. The app on the phone certainly is going to get the job done, but there's a lot of features that you won't be able to see with the phone app. So if you're able to log into a desktop to www.myfitnesspal.com, I encourage you to try to do that at least once each day rather than just doing all of your logging on your phone, because sometimes you won't be able to see your calories. You'll just be able to see calories and not your macros on the phone app, and you can't see how your numbers fall through for the entire day. And here on the desktop, it's much more convenient. So the first thing we'll talk about is the homepage, and you can see right here you'll have your daily summary with your daily calorie goal. Below that is your news feed, which is basically like any social media site where you'll see you can have friends on FitnessPal, and the people that you're friends with, you'll see their updates, how many days they've been logging. I use it with clients to make notes, so if you complete your food diary for the day, I'll go through it and maybe send some notes back in comments, and we can also send messages here to each other through FitnessPal itself. So that's a really nice feature. The first thing you'll want to do once you get your packet is go in and set your goals for your daily calorie and macros. And that's done right here on the homepage. You'll click on goals, and you're going to want to change whatever's there, whether or not you're new to using FitnessPal or if you've used it in the past. FitnessPal is going to want to recommend goals for you. If you're someone who's not working with a coach and you're not really sure where to start, you can use that. They're just going to use RDA recommendations based on your age, height, weight, and your goals, as well as your activity level. My clients, or if you're working with a coach and you have specific calorie and macro numbers, you're going to want to click on custom. And from there, we're going to set our calorie and macro goals that are in your packet. So you can actually change this calorie number to whatever your specific number is. Then you'll find the percentage amounts that correspond to each macronutrient, your carbs, your fat, and your protein, and make sure that those are set correctly. And it will then calculate the number of grams for each. There is a bookmarklet that I use to change this to grams, so you can actually set specific gram numbers for these macronutrients. And some of my clients, that may apply to you, in which case I share that bookmarklet with you separately. So just know if you're working off percentages, the grams may not be exact because you may have half grams and things like that, but it's as close as we can possibly get it. I don't tend to do anything with any of the rest of this. If you have anything specific that you're trying to hit, by all means, adjust those goals here. And I also generally don't enter fitness goals, but you can certainly do that for accountability. So then we would go in and do change goals down at the bottom, and it will save our new goals. So once that's done, we'll go into the food diary here, and this is where you're going to log your food for each day. So you can see I've already put an entry in here. I've chosen that I had an ounce of chicken breast, and it's telling me that's 28 calories, no carbs, 7 grams of protein, and no fat. So FitnessPal on the desktop will give you your calories and macros for every individual meal. And then it also has your daily totals here at the bottom. So whatever we've set the goals to be is going to show up here. And then it's telling you throughout the day how many you have left. And then here's how many you actually ate and what added up. When we want to add a food, it's really simple. We just add food. There's a database of commonly used foods that you have recently eaten, frequent. You can create your own foods, create your own meals, create your own recipes, and select from there. If you're not sure and you need to search for something, like for example, blueberries. Say we didn't have an entry for blueberries. You just search that and it's going to bring up the user database. The important thing to remember about FitnessPal is that it is user-generated content. So most of the entries, with my experience, are fairly accurate, but occasionally you'll see things that aren't quite right. So I always encourage you to kind of keep an eye on things, double check if something doesn't look right, or for example, it may have calories only and no macros, which is not possible for any food. So just keep an eye on that. And then the other thing is whether or not the food is cooked, raw, frozen, or how it's prepared is going to make a difference in its weight. So be mindful if you're measuring your protein, for example, chicken, after it's been cooked, be sure that you're choosing an entry that specifies that that chicken was grilled or something to that effect. Or I would encourage you to use the numbers on the packaging, which are always the raw weight amount, and measure your meats when they are raw. So that's the two ways you can do that. So for example, if we were looking for blueberries and we just have raw blueberries, we had a cup, great, we want it for meal 1, and we would add to food diary. If this was only a half a cup, I can easily change that, and it's going to do the math for me, and it's going to add that right into my meal. Another really neat feature here is the quick tools. I can go in and say, if I eat kind of the same things every day, and I just want to copy this meal over and say, I ate the same thing yesterday for meal 2 that I'm going to eat today, I would just go in, select the date. I didn't eat anything on that day, sorry, to fix that. Let's try last Tuesday. I ate the same thing. There we go, and it's going to go ahead and pop that meal right in with all of the appropriate numbers that correspond to it. And then you'll see it's adding up my totals here at the bottom, and once I've filled in an entire day, we can go back and look at a day that was entirely filled in. And you'll see I can see what each meal was, calorie and macro-wise, as well as there down at the bottom, how many calories, how many carbs, how many protein, how much fat, sugar, and fiber. So real easy there. One thing I want you guys to be aware of is exercise with MyFitnessPal. So you'll see exercise here at the top that you can log your exercise. But the strength training I wouldn't worry about. I really would only use this for cardiovascular exercise. One is that the goal of strength training is not to burn calories, and then the other caveat there would be the way this is done, it wants you to pick each individual exercise and say how many sets and how many reps, and frankly, it's just tedious and probably not worth your time. So if you wanted to add cardiovascular exercise to your diary, you can add new exercises if you have something. These are just things that I've entered in the past, or you can search for something. So say I did 30 minutes of morning cardio and I burned 201 calories. Now this number is either going to come from your heart rate monitor telling you how many calories you burned, or you're going to enter the time of the exercise, and based on that, what FitnessPal believes to be your intensity, it's going to estimate a calorie burn based on your age, height, and weight. Keep in mind that's probably not entirely accurate. I've seen, for example, some ridiculous calories amount that says I burned 1,100 calories jogging for 40 minutes. That's absolutely not anywhere near accurate. So just be mindful if the number looks a little strange. I wouldn't go off of it too much. I would just use it perhaps for accountability purposes, to keep track of when you've worked out, but don't live and die by these calorie numbers because they're probably not exact. So anyways, if I add my exercise, I want you guys to take note of what happens in the food diary. This is why I tell clients, if you're going to add your exercise, wait till the end of the day, because you'll see I added 201 calories from exercise. Well, FitnessPal is now telling me that I've earned those and that I can now eat more to make up for that. It has added, this number was 1,600, now it's 1,801, and it bumped up all of my macro numbers as well, and then it's telling me I have more calories and macros left in my day than I originally had wanted. So if I've given you calories and macros, I've already accounted for activity. Anything burned on top of that is extra. We don't eat our extra calories back in for exercise. So be aware if you're going to log that, these numbers are going to change. So you either want to wait until you've finished your entire diary for the day and you're not eating anything else, then put your exercise in. Or just make sure you know your numbers and this isn't going to throw you off. Or you could choose not to log your exercise at all. That's completely and totally up to you. It is a nice little feature for accountability and for me to see clients are getting their workouts in, but just don't let it throw you off and make you think that you can eat more food than you really should be. Another good thing here is reports. If you want to check your consistency over a period of time, we can choose anything, calories, see how our carbs have been from week to week, day to day. And you select a time period, and we can take a look at the last month to the last 3 months just to see what the consistency's been. If you're not getting results and you kind of want to see what your trend has been over time, have there been more over days than under days, you can do that in your reports. And the other thing that a lot of clients will use this for is it's actually tracking certain things like iron and calcium. If you are wondering if you're low in iron, you may want to take a look at those numbers and just see where they fall. It's actually a really, really neat feature for you. So going back to the home page, the other thing I want to show you is how you're able to enter in recipes or foods and meals. So if you go to My Foods, you're going to see things that I've eaten or entered and put in the calories and macros because I knew what they were, and then they come up easily in my database. My Meals, you can take foods that you frequently eat and put them together and save that as an entire meal. You can also import recipes from a website, or you can create your own in which you would just add all of the ingredients per serving size, and then you can pop that right into your food diary. It's going to tell you right there, like your own personal food label, per serving how many calories and what the macros are for that. So it's little shortcuts that are really come in handy and can make it a lot easier. Once you've been doing this for a while, it can really speed up the process of logging in your food diary. So that's a little explainer of how MyFitnessPal works. And it's a really great site from what I found. Just make sure that you're being careful and watching out for a couple of those little things that might trip you up.